Okay, well, this is week 6 of self-mastery, and there are very few of you who have shown up today to be on this live session, this live call. And I want to point something out, and that is this is very typical when we start something. You can look at even like a New Year's resolution or a goal or something that we do. And usually we're cruising for like the first 6 weeks. And then 6 weeks comes, which typically, if you do this at the beginning of the year in January, that would be around mid-February, Valentine's Day. And then what happens is the commitments that we've made and the things that we've implemented into our lives, life starts happening. The newness wears off, the excitement of the new thing wears off, life starts happening, kids start getting sick, we start traveling, there's all of these things. And this is why we expect the curveballs, we expect for life to happen. And also to reiterate, this is why when we create customized self-mastery blueprints, we do it in 20 minutes or less. Because we expect and we know that life's going to happen and the curveball is going to come. And this is where we really get to know ourselves and what we're actually made of. And I invite everyone who might be finding that newness is wearing off, or there's challenges, or life is happening, or feels like it's less potent in your life, to recommit. Don't quit, recommit. The recommitment is the thing that will change and rewire your brain. Now is the most important time of the self-mastery program to lean in, to go deeper. We complete the first part of the self-mastery today. It's the self-care portion of self-mastery. And next week, we're going to start the care system, where we really start to talk about all things you. How do you create confidence in your life? How do you become aligned in everything that you're doing in all areas of your life? How do you become emotionally resilient so that you can feel all the things, but be resilient in that, so that when life happens or things come your way, which they will, how you can stay resilient in that. And then this empowerment piece, right? This embodiment piece of how do you take everything that we've talked about and learned and embody it. So we expect that we're here today, and I invite you all to just recommit, look at your self-mastery blueprint, see if it's working for you. See if you want to tweak things. It's starting to get warm outside. It's kind of spring. Maybe you want to get outside a little bit more and add that into your physical self-care. I know I do. I really like to start getting out. The sun is coming out. I think it's daylight savings time this weekend, and we're going to spring forward. So we're going to get an extra hour of light outside, which always feels so great to me. And again, this is the midpoint. So what you're going to be doing with me is booking time for us to connect, a 30-minute time block for us to get together and just see how this is going. If you're already working with me one-on-one, you're welcome to book the 30 minutes, or we can check in when we chat. It's totally up to you. If you want the additional support, let's go for it. If you feel like we got this, that's great. We'll just check in when we're regularly meeting. But it's important to come back and to look at things. I had a really beautiful experience this weekend. I sat with grandmother ayahuasca, and that medicine showed me so many things. And one thing specifically that it showed and taught me, specifically in client work and in my own life, of the importance of circling back. Think about how many times we have a conversation with someone or whatever it might be in our lives, and we have all these things happen, but we don't actually circle back. We just keep going. And the assumption is made that we're still in the same place that the person left us, or we are maybe still struggling with that thing, or maybe we're still doing awesome because the last time we connected, everything was great in our lives. And then something happens and we just assume that we pick people back up where we left them. And that is not true. Life is happening every day. Something could happen when we get off this call that completely shifts you from where you are right now in this moment. So it's important to circle back, and it's important to reconnect and to follow up. And we're going to talk about relationships today specifically, because this is the social pillar. And when we talk about relationships and social, we start with ourselves. It's first the relationship we have with ourselves, And then we can start to talk about people in our lives and different things. And I asked you all to come today prepared, because we're going to do some work here while we're together. This isn't going to be a homework assignment. It's going to be an opportunity to do it, to actually like create and do something. So you're going to feel really good after today's session. It's not just going to be me talking. We're going to do a drop in, and then we're going to get into this and give you this opportunity to talk about relationships in your life and really examine those relationships. We are the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So think about that. You know, sometimes we're at default just spending time with people because, you know, they're a business partner, or they've been a friend for a long time, or they live with us, or whatever it might be. And like I said before, we shift and change all the time. And it's important to be visiting and coming back to those relationships and looking at them and saying, okay, maybe I'm on a growth path and I've been growing and this person's kind of staying stagnant. So what am I going to do with that? And you have an option. You can go back and circle back and connect with that person, or you have an opportunity to say, you know what, they were in my life for a season and we're going to graduate from that or move on, or I'm just going to put them in a different place in my life. And I'm going to explain all of this to you in a moment. But before we do that, I'm going to invite you all to just take a moment. I've got a couple of people I'm going to be letting in, or just Mary is just dropping in with us. And I just want to say that if you are coming on or joining late, oftentimes you'll get brought in when I get to a place that I can pause and bring you in. So if you find yourself feeling like you've missed something, then please come back, watch the recording, and you can even listen to these recordings while you're driving or if you're doing something. But for now, I invite you to just become present. And if you're holding anything, and if you're in a place that you can actually put that down and just be present, we're going to take a moment to just drop into our bodies and do a check-in. So when you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes and just take a big, deep breath in. I want you to expand your ribs, expand your lungs, your chest. Just breathe in and inhale a lot of new, fresh air. And when you exhale, I want you to squeeze it all out. Just let it go. And when you get to that exhale, see if you can push out even more, so that when you inhale, you're breathing in, big, deep inhale, expand the back of your lungs, your back body. And when you exhale, squeeze it all out, just literally like you're wringing out your belly, you're wringing out your lungs. Let's do that one more time. Big, deep inhale, breathe in, make space and room, and exhale, push it all out. Let it go. And when you exhale, I want you to drop your shoulders away from your ears. See if you can elongate your spine. Your chin would be parallel to the floor, and it would feel like a string is pulling the top of your head. And either your feet or your tailbone, your sits bones, are connected and grounded in. See if you can feel that. I want you to imagine yourself connecting with the ground, with your seat. Feel really rooted and grounded. And imagine those roots going down into the earth and really connecting into Mother Earth. Feeling held. No matter what's happening in your life, maybe there's a lot going on. And even to be here is like, okay, I'm trying to do a lot of different things, but I'm giving myself permission to just be here now. So feel what that feels like to be held. All things are held. You do as much as you can do, and then the rest is held. So let that be held. Feel grounded. And now I want you to connect with the very, very tip top of your head and open that space in the crown of your head, the very top. Imagine just an opening, and pure white light is coming in from above. This is the Creator, universal love, support. You don't have to do it alone. There's wisdom. There's guidance and support that's always there. We just forget to ask. So now I just want you to ask. to let that light pour into you so that you feel supported and you feel held. I want you to bring your attention to the top of your head and just do a physical body scan from the top of your head. Notice your shoulders, your neck, your chest, your upper body, all the way down. How are you feeling physically today? On a scale of 0 to 10. Remember, physical pain being really uncomfortable is a 0, and a 10 would be no pain at all. Maybe even really energized in your body, feeling really great today. There's no judgment, just awareness of how does your physical body feel right now in this moment. Now I want you to bring your attention to your mind. Focus all your attention on your mind, the space between your ears. And just notice what's happening in my head. What's that mind chatter like? If there's a lot going on in your mind, your thoughts are racing, you'd be closer to a 0. The goal is to get to no thoughts so that my voice is hypnotic and you're just kind of hearing what I have to say, but there's no thoughts, and that would be a 10. So just notice what's going on with your mental body today. How are you feeling mentally on a scale of 0 to 10? Take another deep breath in. I want you to bring your attention to your heart and bring your right hand to your heart so you can feel your heart beating, and tune into your heart. Just notice how your emotional body feels. Try to turn off your mind and move into your heart space. And just notice, how are you feeling? 10 would be you're feeling a lot. No judgment of good or bad or right or wrong. There's no such thing. They're just feelings and emotions. If you're feeling a lot, you're at a 10. And if you're not feeling at all and disconnected to your emotional body, you'd be at a 0. So just notice, how connected or disconnected are you? How much are you feeling or not feeling? No feeling is a 0, and feeling a lot's a 10. And now I want you to move to your spiritual body. This can often be found under your ribs or in your belly. So if you want to move your hand to your belly and tune in to your intuition. Sometimes that intuition can be just between your eyebrows, your third eye. You get to tap in and see, where do you feel this in your body, and connect to your spiritual body. If you can't hear anything and it feels pretty turned off, you're not tuned in, you'd be at a 0. And if you feel pretty connected to your spiritual body, your intuition's really high, you're hearing a lot, it's almost maybe like you're having a conversation with yourself, you'd be at a 10. So just notice on a scale of 0 to 10, how are you feeling spiritually? How connected or disconnected are you? Really connected is a 10, and not connected is a 0. And then last, I want you to think about your social relationships. This is not one of your 4 bodies, but relationships are the currency of life, and they're the thing that fuels and feeds the soul. They're really important, they matter. So I want you to think about the relationship with yourself first. How connected or disconnected are you feeling with yourself? Maybe the people that are in your home and live with you, or those that are in your community or friendships. And being really connected to those friendships would be a 10, and disconnected, kind of a recluse, you might be hibernating a little bit, that would be a 0. So just notice how connected or disconnected are you. Disconnected, 0, and really connected would be a 10. And take another big, deep breath in. Give yourself gratitude for showing up and being here. And on the exhale, you can open your eyes. And I want you to go ahead and write those down. And just as a reminder, I'll always remind you these. I love it. Thank you, Kristen, for sharing. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and social relationships. And you know how this goes. We're going to celebrate your win. So I want you to focus on what number your win is. Awesome. Thank you, Rob, for dropping those in. So look at that number that you're winning. It's the win. And I want you to look at that and I want you to really think about it. What are you doing? What have you been practicing for that to be what that is? So Kristen's win is her spiritual. Rob, relationships, social. And we got a tie here, Mary. It could be your physical or your social. But I just want you to notice, what have you been doing? What have you been creating? How are you at this high number, this win? And give yourself some gratitude for that. Good job. It requires effort. It requires work. It requires intention. It requires you acting, the action, the embodiment. So good job. And keep doing that. Anyone want to share why you feel like you're really high in that number or why it's a win for you? Yeah, great, Rob. Let's see. There you go. Love to hear.
My relationship score is high. I've got a chance this week to slow down a little bit, and I'm working with this person here, Zayaka. Everybody say hi, Zayaka. And when I first, my wife, of course, the reason she's not on the call is because she's in Costa Rica, and so I'm a single parent this week, and I was really kind of dreading it. Like, I've got a lot happening. I don't have time for this kind of a mentality, and I've slowed down, and I've had such a wonderful week with this 6-year-old that I just feel tremendous. I feel tremendous gratitude for the opportunity I have to be her dad, and for the mom that is in Costa Rica. What a tremendous job she's doing with this person, and it just really makes me appreciate those things. So feeling really connected to my girl, which is good. Feels really good.
Thank you for sharing that, Rob. And it's right on time for today and relationships and social and what we're talking about. And isn't that interesting that the thing that feels like it's going to be inconvenient or I don't have time for this, it doesn't work with like my traditional, way of doing things, is your greatest gift and blessing today. It's like I could hear it. As you spoke about it, and that gratitude for the opportunity to just like slow down a little bit and be present. And what a beautiful experience it is for us as parents to be able to slow down and be with kids, be with children, be with them. It's such a good reminder of how we've gotten so mental and so much in our minds and the doing. And children remind us to just be. They're like literally smelling the roses or, stopping to notice whatever comes in front of them in that moment. They're not scheduled and they're not rigid. So thank you for sharing that, Rob. She's so beautiful. And I love having her on our call today and just that, that energy that you're bringing to this call and to our group and her. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah. And Kristen saying, love that so much, Rob. Yeah, me too. I love that. And Rob, it's just such a pleasure to have you here in this group as well. I know that sometimes when you're, it feels like it appears to me based off the last several years in this work of personal development and growth, there tends to be more women that lean in. And the men that decide to do are usually few. They are the minority in spaces, anything from yoga to sound baths to personal development, healing work, plant medicine, all of these things. I typically see less men. And the men that show up are just such pillars and such examples of what we women are longing for and asking for our men to be. So I honor you and I see
What a
you.
tremendous compliment. Thank you.
It's true. I honor you and I see you. And again, you're such a reminder of look, this is what it gets to be. So thank you, Rob, for continuing to show up, even though it can feel uncomfortable, showing all of the parts and the sides, especially the emotional piece, because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to resurface and talk about emotional resilience again, because navigating emotions and talking about emotions, especially for the masculine, is very foreign and it can be really uncomfortable. So the fact that you keep showing up and leaning in is really inspiring. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's look at those low numbers. Let's look at where you could use some improvement, right? Again, this is an opportunity to look at that and go, okay, I could use some improvement there. It looks like mental across the board is low. One thing I would advise you to do, especially as we're shifting kind of out of winter and into spring, which means more energy, more things, more to do, more physical exertion. That also means that the mind starts to pick up. Look at your self-mastery blueprint and whatever it is that you decided that you were going to practice for your daily mental practice. I just want you to look at it and ask yourself, is this still working? And maybe it's just that you haven't practiced it as regularly, which is an opportunity to come back, recommit, or you might want to tweak it. And that's okay, right? The goal here is we want it to be effective. We want it to work for you. So whatever that is for mental, and this can be so simple, so simple. You can literally just sit and pause for 1 minute, 60 seconds, and just let your mind calm down. Breath is a really powerful tool. Remember how I said you can do that where you breathe in, smell the roses, blow out the candles? If you do that 3 times, your brain, your mental will calm down. So I invite you at least to inhale, smell the roses, exhale, blow out the candles. Let's do that together. We're just going to do it 3 times. You're going to notice this is going to be really quick, like 20 seconds max. So I want you to just breathe in, inhale, smell the roses, smell the flowers, exhale, blow out the candles. Let's do that again. Inhale, think about smelling roses or flowers or coffee or whatever you love. And exhale, blow out those candles. And do it one more time. Inhale and exhale. I just want you to notice your mind now. How quick is that? It's pretty simple and easy. So again, check-ins are just an opportunity to notice where you are, just an observation, and then be able to shift and do something. So the question you can ask yourself now before we move on, I'm going to have you do this on your own, is I want you to ask yourself and look at your pillar, look at your low, look at the place you choose to focus on. It's totally up to you. It doesn't have to be mental. As a collective, I did mental because that felt like a number we needed to focus on. But you pick and ask yourself, what's one thing I could do to increase that number? Just one point. What's one thing I can do? I want you to sit with that until you get your answer. What's one thing? Ask yourself. You can just raise your hand or give me a thumbs up so I know when you're ready, when you're clear. what you know, there's no rush here. What is one thing I could do? Okay, anyone want to share what your one thing is you're going to do? Speak it into the group for accountability.
I can share.
Yeah, great.
Because mental, I am in a place like I'm driving here, I'm listening to the call, I'm, I gotta run inside, get the skates on the boys, and then come out, and so my mind's racing. I see text messages coming in. And because as you were talking, I have to walk through the cold, and it was like this breath of fresh air. And it's like, so for me, it's doing this call and being fully present. So I'm at a point where the breathing does wonders. Like I
Yes.
just have to attest to that. And being like, okay, I am here. I can shut everything else out for the rest of our time together and just be.
Yeah. Thank you, Kristen. It's challenging. It's challenging to just be. It's challenging to be here in the moment and be present when there's so many things going on. And I want you to know, I understand that having calls and doing this in the morning, especially, can feel like, we want to check off our list or get things done and then feel settled. And how you start your day and how you create a container, a ritual, an opportunity to just give yourself what you need and fill up first, the rest of your day will go so much more smoothly. And Kristen, I appreciate you bringing up breath because it's so underrated. Breath is so underrated. It's so underrated. And it's like, oh, count to 3, breathe. It's like, oh, that sounds like so basic, so elementary. And it works over and over and over again. It works. Before you pick up a phone call, what if before you picked up a phone call, you just, and then said, hello? You're going to find that you come back to your body. There's something that you can do, and we'll do this in advanced practice, but what it is, and I want to explain this to you. There are parts of you, okay? And those parts are all over the place, all over, scattered. When you take that deep breath in, you call all parts back to you, all of your parts back to you. Your role as a mother or a father, an entrepreneur, a business person, a partner in a relationship, a daughter, mother, friend, father. You call all those parts back to you. And then you can show up wholly, fully, complete. But when all of those parts are everywhere else, it's really hard for your brain and for your body and for your spirit and your emotional body to be present because all of those parts are scattered and they're everywhere else. So you can do that anytime. You can literally just say, I call all parts back to me. You'll feel it. You'll literally feel it. It's pretty cool. And that's an addition to your one breath. Okay. So let's move on. I want to talk to you today specifically about relationships. And if you don't have a pen and paper, I invite you to get one because I want you to write down and just start to make a list of the people that are in your life. Start with those that live in your home. Write those names down, the people that live in your home. And then I want you to write down the people that you see or talk to every day. Okay. And you've got time. I'm actually going to play a little bit of music. I'm going to give you about a minute. And we've got about 25 minutes to do this activity. So we've got time. We're good. But I want you to be specific. Okay. And I want you to write down who are the people that you talk to every day. Maybe you don't talk to them in person, but you message them. You're in communication with them. You want to write down write your parents down, if they're still here, Any step parents? And then I want you to go into friendships, okay? Or like neighbors or people that you're regularly talking with, communicating with. Just again, try to brain dump here. This is, and you might come up with someone in a minute and be like, oh, I forgot that person. That's fine. So just take about a minute and just write those names down. Brain dumping again. You just don't need to just write down whoever comes. All the names of the people in your life that you work with. If you have a boss, you have coworkers, even clients or people that you work with regularly. If you go anywhere to exercise or work out, think about those people. And if you're feeling like no one else is coming up, when you get to that place, I want you to just close your eyes and just ask, is there anyone else? Again, these are people that you're pretty regularly communicating with, if not daily, weekly. And then again, like family gets to be on there too. And so even if it's like, well, I only talk to that family member on holidays, that's okay. Family is family. So I want you to make sure that you put family down. Give you a little bit more time, okay? But if you're feeling complete when you are, just give me a thumbs up or an okay or something, and then I'll know that your list is complete. Perfect. Just give you about 30 more seconds, Kristen. And you can always come back to this, but just anybody else that's coming. So let me draw this out and I'm going to show you on here how we're going to do this. So you're going to draw on a piece of paper something that looks like a bullseye. If you were throwing darts, where you have the middle. Okay, this is why I didn't go into art, but I'm going to show you. Okay, here it is. Okay, can you see this? So we've got like a middle and then another circle and another circle, but you want to do the middle and then the second and then the third. Okay, so draw this out for yourselves. This bullseye on a piece of paper. And in the very, very center, this is called your A, the letter A team. And then the next circle is your B team. And then you've got your C team. Okay, so it looks something like this. A team, B team, C team. Now, your A team, these are the people that are the closest to you. It doesn't mean that they're close as in family or they sit at a desk beside you. It's not about proximity. And it's not about, again, family that should be close because they have a title. These are the people that are your ride or die, your go-to. This is like, I would drop anything if that person called you. I want you to put those people, A team. If you don't want to put them in here just by their name, put the letter A. This is usually a handful of people. They're the people that are the most intimate relationships in your life. They're the people that know everything. And if they don't know everything, they would maybe be your children. You would do anything. They're the priority. They come first. If all these names that you wrote down were standing in a line, these are the people that you would say, if I had to go live in a tent and I could only take a handful of people with me, you're coming. So I want you to identify those people as A. Now you might have some people that are on that A team, but you're feeling like, I don't know if this is like, maybe they've been on the A team for a while, but there might be a little bit of reservation or questioning. That's okay. Put /B or put AB by their names, okay? We're going to work on this, so you don't have to finalize this right now, but I just want you to be aware, because we're going to start to categorize these people. No one's going to see this. You're not going to tell anyone unless you feel like you want to tell someone they're on your A team, but you don't need to worry about anyone seeing this. So next, I want you to identify who's on your B team, okay? Your B team are people that maybe you see a lot. They're in your life, but you're not disclosing everything to them. They don't know everything. There are certain things that you're like, there's just certain things that they don't get to know. I hope I'm on your A team. If I'm not, I'd love to be on your B team. But people in your life that are pretty present. But again, it just, you love them and they're close to you, or you work with them. Maybe it's family. You feel like, gosh, probably should be on the A team, but we're really only connected because we're family. And no shoulds here, right? I just want you to be really honest about this. So B team, they're close to you. They might even feel like they're an A teamer, but you know that like, probably closer to being on a B team, okay? Now I want you to keep looking at these names, and then you're going to move to your C team. And your C team are the people that, you know, if you got invited to their birthday party, you would probably go, or if there was something that was an event or something like that, you see them out, you check on them, you maybe send them a Christmas card, things like that. They're in your life, they're in your world, but you're just catching up whenever you talk. You're just kind of, how's it going? Catching up, but they're not in the know as much. They don't really know the details of your life, what's happening in your world. Now, as you're doing this, I want to explain the place that we're going to do a little bit of work is we're going to move some people around. Okay. So you have people on your A team that might not really get to be on your A team. They're on your A team because you've known them for a long time, or they've kind of always been that friend, but more recently you're feeling like, I don't know, or like maybe as you're up leveling your life, you want more, you want an upgrade, and you feel like they've been here for a long time, but it's like, I don't know, like, there's just like something that's telling you that like, maybe they need to move to the B team. So this is the beauty in this. You don't actually have to say to the person, hey, you used to be on my A team, but I moved you to my B team. You don't even have to say that, which is great. But what it tells you is maybe you're going to create a little bit of a boundary where you just don't share and open up as much as you used to, because either they don't know how to meet you in that, or they don't understand it because you've been on a growth path and they haven't. Maybe they've just kind of taken you for granted. Maybe they just expect that you're always going to be there, but you're the one that's maybe doing more of the reaching out or the connecting, or maybe you're holding space for them more than they're holding space for you. This can be a really sticky, kind of prickly thing because of all the things in your head that you're telling yourself you should or shouldn't do. I want you to give yourself permission to just like trust that whatever you're feeling is right for you. Raise your hand if you've got someone, one person at least, that you feel like is on your A team that you probably need to move over to your B team. Okay, Mary. Anybody else? Rob, you feeling, you can just raise your hand. Kristen, you feel like, is there anybody on your A team that you're kind of like, oh, I don't know. Maybe moving them over to your B team. Okay. Now I want you to do the same thing with the B to C team. Now, again, maybe it's a high school friend that you feel like was always on your B team. But the truth is, you're like, gosh, we're only still even friends because we went to high school together. I really just have kept this going because they're an old friend, but we don't even have anything in common anymore. I've got one of those. I just think, gosh, we couldn't be more different. Like, we were college friends, but we have really gone two separate ways. And I've had to really consider that and think about that. The amount of time I'm giving her on Marco Polo is, it doesn't feel reciprocated. And it feels like I'm kind of just checking, I'm just doing this because we've always done it. So something to look at, right? And again, I'm not suggesting that you're not friends with these people anymore. You wrote their name down. So they're part of your team. They're important to you. They matter to you. It's just about knowing how much time, energy, and capacity you give and where they are prioritized. So let me give you an example. If one person on your, let's just say you have a lunch appointment with a B teamer, okay? You got an appointment with a B teamer on your schedule. And somebody on your A team messages you and they need you. They need you. This is why and how you make the decision to reschedule that lunch appointment. Because your A team is your priority. You don't have to think twice about it. You don't have to try to, well, gosh, I've been wanting to go out and do lunch with this person for so long, and we finally got something on the calendar, and I just feel like I shouldn't cancel, but my partner is like kind of struggling today and needs a little bit of support. And nope, you don't even do that. A team, you show up. A team, you show up. Show up without any shame, without any guilt, without any excuses. You just say, you know what? Can we please reschedule? I am so sorry. I was looking forward to this lunch. I really want to be with you. Something's come up and it needs my attention. This will help you make decisions in your life in a way that it's not emotional. You don't fall into a shame and a guilt cycle about what you should be doing or what they're going to think. You've got this dialed, okay? So those A teamers are your priority. They're your people. And you can move some of those B teamers to the A team, but it might require a conversation. I've got one of those I need to have with a friend that has not shown up for me in my hardships the last couple of months. I'm usually pretty outward focused and checking on people and showing up for people, and had a lot going on in my own personal life. And it's been really interesting to see who shows up for me and who doesn't. And the distance that's been created in one of these friendships was heartbreaking, literally broke my heart. But it's all information, right? It's like, wow, interesting. I thought we were A team friends, but the truth is, when life's good for me and I can reach out and show up for her consistently, we are A team. But when my life is kind of crumbling and stuff's going down, where is she? She's not really actively there like I thought. So it can sometimes feel like heartbreak or disappointment a little bit, to look at this. It's like, oh gosh, whew. But the honesty and the self-awareness is that we trust when people show us who they are, not when they tell us who they are. I'm going to repeat that. Trust people when they show you who they are, not when they tell you who they are. Anyone can say the thing. Anyone can talk the talk, but it is a whole nother thing to walk it, to be it, to show you. Who is showing you? What are people showing you? If you were to pull back the lens and look at these relationships and say, I'm going to let go of the story, but I'm going to focus on what they've been showing me. What are they showing you? And again, it's all information. And most oftentimes people have always been showing us, we've just been telling ourselves a story that felt good or what we liked. How's this landing? How's everybody feeling about this? What's coming up for you? I'd love to hear.
I'd like to share. It was interesting because as I'm going through my list, I'm like, A, B, A, B. Oh, here's a C. But then as you were talking, I'm like, and really kind of thinking more than just like artificially, like off the top of my head. I'm like, oh, I kind of like them to be a B, but honestly, they're more of a C, which it's not wrong or bad or anything like that. It's just, oh, this is something that I'd like, but it's like that, like you said, that reciprocity and how your life changes and shifts, and you're like, oh man, that kind of sucks. But that's okay because then I'm like, actually, somebody that I was thinking was a B, I'm like, you know what? They really have my back
Mm.
more so. Like maybe, I mean, like they're, I guess, between like a C and a B, like where I'm like, no, they are more kind of a B, or you know what I mean? Just I'm like, so it is interesting.
It's very interesting. And to actually do this, so we all know, right? Like there are lifer friends. There are friends that you have for your whole life. They're like lifers. You've got seasonal friends, right? They come around different seasons. Like I've got ski buddies. We ski every winter, but we don't hang out a lot in the summer. But we ski every winter and they're my ski buddies and we have so much fun. But I know that, right? I don't have to and I don't have to feel bad about it. It's just like it is what it is. And then you have people that just literally come into your life for a moment. They were there for something big and you love them and it's like, "Oh my gosh, you were there for me during this really big time in my life," and you can love them and thank them and send them like all the blessings, but they were just there for a moment. And the point of this is to be able to just let it be. It just gets to be what it is. And you can move people around, Kristen, right? It's like, again, seasons or times of your life, or maybe there's an opportunity for a conversation to say, I'd really like for you to be part of however you want to speak it, right? But here we'll say my A team, but there needs to be reciprocity, the give and the receive. And that's what I want you to notice. Your A team, there is a give and a receive. It's very, very, the infinity sign, which is give and receive. Okay. It's masculine and feminine. It's give and receive. Those are your deepest, deepest connections and relationships because there's more balance. And you'll notice that some of these relationships, you're like, wow, maybe I'm giving more than I'm receiving here. And so I'm either going to need to move that to the B or C team, or maybe it's an opportunity for a conversation to ask somebody to lean in more, to be more present. Like, hey, this is what I really appreciate. And what happens in this, I want to be really clear, is that instead of just feeling like I got to pull back on all of these, I'm going to encourage you that if you're feeling a little bit of like a desire to want more, lean in. Have the hard conversation. Say, hey, this is what I need, and let them tell you if they're willing to give it or not. But sometimes people need to be called out a little bit, and especially if you're in a partnership, relationship, intimacy, business. There's always somebody, right? You're in a partnership with them in your business, friendship, relationship, that you're like, kind of need them to step up a little bit and to lean in and have that conversation and just say, hey, I'd love to talk about where we are and how we can show up better for each other. You know, please tell me what would that look like for you? Let them tell you. I wanted to share one more thing. So I did this with my kids, and I've shared this before. My kids, especially being a parent, sometimes I think it's really hard because we're trying to like show up for them equally or do similar things. And several years ago, I was feeling overwhelmed, like I just couldn't get to all the things. And I was in the car with my kids, and I asked them, I said, listen, I'm willing to financially support you and show up for you when I need to, but I won't be able to be at all your games. And so I'd love to hear from you, each of you, what you would like. And it was fascinating to hear what they each cared about. My Jackson said, I don't care if you come to my games or not, but if you could bring me a blue Gatorade and a bag of Doritos, that would be great. I'm like, okay, great. Let me get a case of blue Gatorade and Doritos, right? But here I am having all this stress that I need to like show up in the same way. So the conversation is really important, especially with the people that you're intimately connected to say, how can I show up for you better? And then for you to get really clear on what you need from them. Any other thoughts around this?
Sorry, I'm a chatterbox. But it was more of something that came to me. And Kate, you know this about me, and I don't know who else might be like this, but I am definitely seasonal where I'm very outgoing and like, hey, and I'm talking to you all the time. And then all of a sudden I'll be very overwhelmed, or it just like I flip and I go into like this hibernation mode. And I mean, obviously there's my A team that really knows that and they know to check on me. And like if I don't respond per se like right away, like I'm seeing you, it's very, I guess for me it's like, how do I communicate with that to people? Because some people get very offended.
Mm-hmm.
And I have kind of communicated that to them. But then when they keep like coming at me, like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
does that make sense? Like,
100%. Yeah, I've experienced that with you. And the
yeah,
beautiful thing is we've had a conversation, right? And you were really clear. And I would just encourage you to do exactly what you did with me, where you were like, hey, Kate, I'm getting your messages. I hear you. Thank you. I'm in a season of my life that I'm really inward and I'm processing a lot. And it means a lot for me to hear from you, but know that if I don't respond, it has nothing to do with you. It's just that I'm in my own process. Say it, Kristen, just speak it. And then the people that will be able to hold that space for you and allow that will, and then the ones that don't won't. But it's who you are. And this is why I love working with people for at least a year, because we really start to see like what your habits are and your cycles are, and when your hibernation is, and when you're like really outward focused. And you cycle with the seasons. I've witnessed it and watched it. And you kind of start to go into that in the fall. And then it kind of goes through winter. And here we are in spring, and you're just kind of like coming out and like, and it's beautiful. And it's helpful to know that. So just speak it. Just be clear.
thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Rob, how's this landing? Mary, how's this landing with you?
Yeah, I like the simplicity of just asking people like, how can I show up for you better? And because it might be as simple as a blue Gatorade and a Doritos, because sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, I need to do so much more to show up for
Totally.
them.
Yeah, ask. Yep. Because how we show love and how we show up for people might be different than what they want. And that overwhelm or that feeling of lack of like, I'm not doing enough, it might just be like, Z might just need 5 minutes of quality time, right, Rob? Like we've talked about this. Sometimes it's like just look and pay attention, and you don't need to give a whole day. But what if the quality? So the reminder here is it's about quality time more than quantity, quality.
I like the idea of setting intention around around these relationships. It feels to me I've set intention around almost every other part of my life, as far as like physical health and financial and business and you name it. There's a significant amount of intention in my life, as you well know, and but I don't have any intention around my relationships. I mean, other than probably like my AA level people,
Mhm.
but there's the B's and C's. They're also they're valuable. Um, but what's the intention with those? What do I want from that friendship? Where do they fit in, and what energy am I willing to commit? I'm a people pleaser, and so it's good for me to think I would drop anything right now to help that person, but this other person, maybe not so much. Maybe I should rethink that. Maybe I shouldn't be as emotionally or physically available. When I say physically available, like come out, bring your truck, help me move. I want to be clear about that. But I like the intentionality around this, and I have a significant. I know a lot of people, and I don't, maybe I'm saying that in a little bit of a bragging way, but all of the people don't deserve to be treated the same.
Amen. Amen. Rob, this is a big activity for you because you have so many people in the community and what you're doing. Even Thanksgiving Heroes alone would be really helpful for you to take this model and do it with Thanksgiving Heroes people,
Mm.
and then do it with your real estate people, and like really break it down. You can do this for different categories as well, like even in business, right? Real estate or whatever, you could kind of look at it and say, okay, you all three are in real estate, by the way. But you all, yeah, is
Suckers.
that cool? I know Mary goes, what? Yeah, you all three are in real estate. So do it in your real estate community, okay? As like a homework, if you want to take it to the next level, do it. Take your specific thing and say, okay, who are my, A team, B team, C team here, and really get that written out. Because again, clarity creates confidence. And the more clear you are on this, it's just like a roadmap, and you get to look at it and go, okay, I know how I'm going to show up. I don't have to spend all this mental capacity and time and energy trying to figure this out. You do it once when you're not emotionally involved in something, and then it's just like really clear. So, I love this activity, and relationships are the currency of life. Relationships matter, and they really do feed the soul. So thank you for taking the time to dive into this, and I invite you to go deeper and really flesh it out. And if you keep this active and alive this week, you're going to start to notice the people that show up today and the people that show up tomorrow. And there will be a couple of people that you missed. You'll be like, oh yeah, shoot, how did I forget that? But that's something to look at, and then just decide where you would put them as well. So thank you all. Just a reminder, I will drop the link in our chat on Instagram in that group, for those of you that are not working with me one-on-one, so we can do a 30-minute check-in to adjust and recalibrate your self-mastery blueprint. And for those of you that I am talking to and seeing regularly, we can chat through that. But I will see you next week. Have a great day and a great rest of the week.